915 High School Football Insiders out here at Cathedral High School in downtown El Paso. Coach Gonzalez, thank you for having us out here.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here.
Hey, it's our first time. Got a wonderful view of the campus. Got a tour from one of the staff. The oldest high school, I believe, in El Paso,
Yes, sir.
celebrating its 100th year this year. 98 years of football here. That's got to be one of the oldest in the city. So a lot of tradition here. So again, Coach, thanks for having us out here. So just real quick, tell us what got you into football, and then after football, what got you into actually coaching football?
Yes, sir. So my football career started in high school. I played at Motwood High School under Coach Felice.
Another one.
Yes, he was. I was actually one of the last teams he coached at Motwood before he had left.
Okay.
So a lot of my understanding, a lot of my roots come from him. My linebacker coach at the time was Noe Robles, who is now the head coach at Americas.
Yeah.
And so in high school, I was blessed to experience some great coaching, understand the game, and it was in high school where I developed a passion for coaching. I ended up suffering a knee injury my junior season, and sitting out that year, it's what kind of started the fire to start coaching. And so I stayed here at UTEP. I studied psychology and communication studies, and a year before I graduated college, an assistant coach position opened up here. So what's cool about Cathedral is you don't have to be a teacher to work here, to coach here. You don't have to be an employee. So the opportunity came, and I took advantage of it. And so I started the 2020 season. Because of all the stuff that was happening, we ended up only having one game. And so I don't really consider it a full season of mine. And so I was able to see what the off-season program was like. My first official season was 2021 as an outside linebackers coach.
Okay.
The following year in 2022, our defensive coordinator left, and so I ended up taking over as a defensive coordinator in 2022. 2023, I remained as a coordinator, and then mid-season, they made a coaching change where I ended up becoming the interim head coach last season. So I was able to get some experience as a season kind of ended, but this coming season is going to be my first official head coaching spot. And I'm super pumped, super excited to see what we're going to do.
Outstanding. I tell you what, Coach Felice and Coach Robles aren't bad guys to learn from, two great coaches. And I tell you what, it seems like every other interview I do with the head coaches, I started under Coach Felice, or Coach Felice was my high school coach.
Yes,
so
sir.
Definitely one of the best coaches in all of El Paso historically, and I'd still say currently he's a great coach, still works with a lot of the youth here. So definitely blessed in that aspect. So all that brings us here to this year, your first full year as a head coach here at Cathedral. So tell me what the 2024 campaign is going to look like for you. I know you guys have somewhat of a rivalry set with San Eli. You play year to year. Tell me what that game is going to be like. But just overall, what can we expect from Cathedral in the 2024 season?
Yeah, in my opinion, the 2024 season is going to look nothing like the previous years. The approach is it's a new era, a new identity. We're here with new power. We're here to make some noise. Historically, Cathedral, we haven't had a strong football program in years past, and so what I want to do is bring that culture here, give us something that the school maybe is we don't have a history of winning, but want to bring that here, want to enjoy that here with us. So we're getting new uniforms. It's a brand new offense that we're installing. Everything's going to be fast. Defense, we're going to be aggressive, and we're going to be on the attack. The whole season, everyone says, "Oh, Little Oak Cathedral, where everyone's homecoming game," but we're hungry to make a name for ourselves, put respect on our name, and I think the 2024 season, I think that's our mission.
I'll tell you what, that's great. And we're going to put a little bit different spin on this, Coach, because quite frankly, we're not as familiar with Texas private school football. Now, I'll tell you this, a lot can be said, but you are the only program with the state football championship, private, whatever. It's an accomplishment, and that happened just in 2017. That wasn't in the 50s or the 60s, and we didn't hop in the Wayback Machine for that. Their YouTube was out in 2017. So definitely a big deal. But I know you're the defensive coordinator. You have a defensive background.
Yes, sir.
Just tell me what defensive football in the private school leagues is like. I talked to you on before. 3-5-3 is the big defense with public schools here. What kind of defensive philosophy does Cathedral have, and what does it look like in private school?
Yes, sir. So, being a private school, there's so many different styles of offenses. Since we are smaller schools, those smaller schools tend to maybe be a little bit more running, a little bit more two back. But at the same time, we'll play spread offenses. So defensively, we got to be prepared for all types of offenses
Gotcha.
and how they attack us. So our philosophy is to be very multiple in our fronts. We play split safety coverages, so everything's very independent from one another. We're not a zone spot drop defense. We're more man match. We love to bring pressure. So the system that we have defensively allows us to kind of morph into any front that we need to. We can bring pressure from different angles. And so the idea is just to be multiple and to attack offenses. We don't want to be passive. We want to bring the fight to them.
I agree with that philosophy. Sometimes defenses wait to set what the offense does. I don't like to get the tone set to me either. I like to have offenses adjusting to what I'm doing. And again, I think coverage don't get better with time, so I'm a pressure guy as
Yes,
well,
sir.
Coach. So definitely I like that philosophy. So real quick, with that philosophy, who are going to be your big name guys we're going to hear big numbers from, whether it's sacks from pressure, whether it's picks from pressure, or whether we're getting those tackles for losses? Who is going to be some of your big name guys this year?
Yes, sir. So I think our strongest unit on defense is our linebacker core. Three of the four are going to be 3-year starters on varsity. So they got a ton of experience. They're great group of friends. So there's some chemistry that goes along with it. Some of the names, the biggest one is our strong side outside linebacker, Josh Bowling, number one. He actually started as a freshman. Big size, got a lot of experience, and so he's going to be our leader on our defense. Another one is another outside linebacker, Emiliano Hernandez, number 51. Probably our best pure pass rusher that we have. He's going to be a 3-year starter.
Okay.
And then the last one is Caleb Kearney. He's our Mike backer. He's kind of the captain, and he's number 8. Been playing since the sophomore year. That dude will run through a brick wall many times before he even blinks. So we got some guys who are going to pin their ears back and really set the tone for our defense.
Coach, a defensive like that comes from having great chemistry and a great culture here. So just walk me through what it's like at Cathedral for an incoming freshman from the day he goes to his first summer workout until the day he signs that that letter of intent with the NCAA to play college football. What's that culture like, and how do you set it here to get those great teams on defense like you have?
Yes, sir. So our approach is more of a holistic approach. We have great athletes, and we always will have great athletes, but we focus on character, being great young men, and that's a school-wide effort. We have a saying when you enter the building. It says, enter to learn, leave to serve. And so everything at Cathedral revolves around building the man, the physical, the mental, the emotional, giving them responsibility. So here at Cathedral, I think it's a school-wide effort. Where, for example, we have to, as a campus, go to mass once a month with suit and tie. There's a higher standard here at Cathedral. Their GPA needs to be higher, but it all pays off. So at the football level, we try to embrace that. We try to amplify that even more. So if the standard is high at the school, it's even higher for football players. So we focus on the character. We focus on the man itself, not so much on the athlete. And at the end of their senior year, from what we've heard, it's about the growth as a young man, the growth of relationships, not so much about the athlete, but again about the person. And for example, last year, the class of 2024, as a collective, there's only about 92, 98 graduating seniors, but as a collective, they raised, I think, $62 million in scholarships.
Oh yeah.
So athletics is one thing, but we try to push, education. We try to push building the man, being good fathers, being good leaders. We're always going to have football, but we're trying to make good members of society.
Those are high numbers too for scholarships. Those numbers are published by the public schools every year. So that is a high number, especially considering the small amount of enrollment you had. That is a very high number, and that's a good thing. And I tell you, a lot of programs talk, hey, we're teaching life lessons to young men. But I tell you this right off the bat, if I took a tie in there and seen how many people can tie a tie in the average locker room, you guys might be winning. Because I tell you what, a lot of these young men, you give them that tie, they're looking for mom or dad to tie it for them. And again, that's something every young man should know before he goes out into the world, is how to tie a tie. A little bit old-fashioned like that. So I appreciate that, Coach. So when you got that kind of culture, tell me the guys, it's not the guys we're going to read about on Saturday morning because they had 150 yards rushing, might not have 15 tackles, but the guys who are enforcing your culture that you've set here over the summer, your first year in the program, who are those culture leaders? I like to call them lunch pail leaders, that enforce the standards of your program. Hey, when maybe all the coaches are at a meeting, you got a guy who's telling that guy, hey, we don't do that. We do that all the time, not just when the coaches are watching. So who are your lunch pail leaders, Coach?
Yes, sir. The first group of guys that come to my mind are the offensive linemen. We tell them, being an offensive lineman, your name's not going to be on the paper. You're not going to get the stats. You're going to do all the dirty work. And that's just part of the job. And so not only have they embraced it as a unit, but now they're the enforcers. Hey, straighten up when coach is talking. There's a lot of leadership in the O-line room, and so we go as they go, and they know that. And so they're the ones that are leading the charge. They're the ones that keeping the players in check when some of the coaches are busy. So in my opinion, I think the unit that leads that is offensive line. So we have guys like Angel Corral who leads that. Alex Salas, Hendrik Morales, Fernando Hernandez, Emiliano Hernandez, just a bunch of great guys who have embraced, I'm not going to get all the attention. I'm not going to get all the praise, but my team needs me. We're kind of the engine, and they've embraced that very well.
Yeah, I tell you what, being an offensive lineman is a thankless job. And usually if we're talking about you, it's not for good things.
Yes,
hey,
sir.
When we're not talking about you, touchdowns happen, big passes happen, big runs happen. Usually we're talking about you, what happened right here, man? It's usually bad. So it's a thankless job. So understandable. Those guys are the enforcers in the locker room. Doesn't hurt to have the big guys to be your enforcers.
Yes,
so that's a good thing. So take me through what's game day like for you, Coach. When you're getting ready for the a big game, what's your day like? Superstitions. What's your pregame ritual like?
Yeah, me personally, I'm not big on superstitions. I do have a routine, and so just have a normal day of class. Again, just constantly be thinking about football. But right when the bell rings, the kids will come down. We'll have a pregame meal, something to kind of just share together. The parents kind of set that up really well for us. We'll do a little walkthrough in one of our gyms just to kind of make sure that there's no hiccups. And then we tend to leave to the field about 2 hours before the game starts. And then during that time, everyone's kind of more into their own personal mental state. So you have some guys who are isolated, some guys who like to chit chat, but everyone kind of deals with it their own way. And then once it's time to go, you can start feeling the energy shift. It gets a little bit more serious. And then after the game, again, going back to the life lessons, whether it's a win, whether it's a loss, we always try to reflect on life because that's what football is. It's hard. Life is hard. And so whether it's a good game, a bad game, we always try to, hey, there's a bigger picture. We're all healthy. We're all blessed. So even if you had a bad game, there's a lot to be grateful for. And so at the end of the game, we'll chain up and we'll do a little prayer as a team. We'll come back. We'll have a quick meeting with the staff. And then we'll just go home real quick, sleep overnight, and then be up early in the morning for the breakdown. But it is a little challenging because we don't have a home stadium. We don't have a practice field. And so traveling to and from games can be difficult. But by the end of the season, our players are already used to it. And again, we've kind of embraced it as a small school. Yeah. There are some disadvantages. And so, hey, man, give us all the disadvantages you can give us. We're going to find a way to win.
I'll tell you what, sometimes disadvantages, shared suffering builds bonds. I tell you that as a military guy, I know that. So a lot of shared suffering, a lot of close teammates is what I heard. So, all right, big win. What are you doing after the big win, Coach? Just you? Are you and the coaches going out? You and the family going out? What are we doing after a big win?
Personally, I like to spend it with some of my coaches. Okay. Go out, maybe have a couple of drinks, just spend some time together after a big win. But it's always nice to celebrate with the people who work day in and day out. And so I love my family. We'll celebrate on our own. But there's something special about, especially a staff kind of celebrating after knowing everything that you guys put in through the week.
I tell you what, Coach, you can't just build a culture with the players. As a coach, you have to build a culture with your coaches as well. I tell you what, Coach, I appreciate you having us out here. First time being out here won't be our last time. I promise you that. We'll try to get out to some games this year. But again, I think you're doing the right thing, setting a culture, not just with your players, but with your coaching staff. So I think you've done a great job. I'm looking forward to looking at you guys this year. Good luck, Coach.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Boom.
Thank you.